The issue of the death penalty is a hot button issue for a lot of people, and there's an overarching reason why. And so let's address the elephant in the middle of the room, and that is that it requires almost no imagination for us to imagine a crime that someone would do that is absolutely, fully deserving of death. Any one of us can come up with a crime and say, boy, if someone did that, they sure deserve to die. The deserving is never the issue for anyone in, goodness, on almost the complete political spectrum from left to right. The issue is when you begin to think about it. Because the same burden of proof in a criminal trial that is used for every other crime is also used to convict of the death penalty, where the is used to convict of a crime where the penalty is capital, where the penalty is death. That is screwed up in the extreme, that the burden of proof for breaking somebody's window is the same burden of proof for murder or for any other capital crime. Of course, civil trials have a lower burden of proof. But for criminal, with penal penalties, prison penalties, or the death penalty, it's all the same burden of proof. If we wanted to make a difference, because it's clear that a difference needs to be made. Before there was such a thing as DNA, people were convicted of capital crimes, of murders of different sorts, and then these little tiny organizations with $1,000 budgets scraped together the money to do DNA tests on the evidence and on the individual being held for decades, often in prison. And it turned out, whoopsies, it sure was easy to convict that poor black person. Boy, that was easy. And we got a conviction, and we got to trumpet it, and we're prosecutors, and we would like to have elected office once we're done being a prosecutor. And the best way to get elected office, such as the vice president we have right now, one of their main qualifications for the job is she was a prosecutor. We love to elect prosecutors into public office. Get those bad guys, because that's what we see on TV. Every criminal show starts the same way. They show you the bad guy and they demonstrate how horrid he is. Yeah, goodness, I was watching one just yesterday, and the bad guy puts a bunch of people in the room to question them and then kills them slowly, one by one. He's the bad guy. Goodness, these people are rare. These people are rare in the extreme. But we convict people left and right because they are so easy to convict, and we need a conviction because a murder has been done. But then DNA comes out, and it turns out that many of these people were never the person who committed the crime at all. Bozo citizens like you and me, we fold like cheap suits when a prosecutor says, you either sign this confession, plea agreement, you either sign this confession or I'll double or triple the amount of prison time that I'll be looking for, or I'll definitely go for the death penalty if you don't sign this confession. And if you don't think that's bullying, you've got another thing coming. Over 90% of the people that we send to prison are there based on confessions written by prosecutors and then given to the accused. And they don't have to, oh no, you don't have to sign it. No. But if you don't, I'm definitely gonna do my best to lock you up for 3 times the amount of time because I can. And of course they can. Bozo citizens like you and me do not have the ability to defend ourselves in criminal court over the course of a long time, nor do we have the time to spend locked up until they do decide. So if you sign the plea agreement, you might be released on bail. If you don't, we will get your family by causing them to suffer by stopping your ability to work and support your family. The death penalty burden of proof is the same. The death penalty burden of proof needs to be beyond doubt, not beyond a reasonable doubt, but simply beyond doubt. The other problem with the death penalty is, of course, once you have administered the penalty, there is no way to go back and say, oops, we were wrong. Oh, here's $1,500 and you can go free. No, you don't go free from a pauper's prison or from a pauper's grave. You don't go free from that. You stay dead. That is a big, big problem because we do have prosecutors who want to gain convictions. No judge ever wants to be overturned. No prosecutor ever wants one of his convictions overturned. Judges and prosecutors, even if they find that they're wrong, they do not want to be overturned. That is a very black mark for a judge or a prosecutor to have. That's why these people who have been released on DNA, very often it's because the prosecutor's retired. The prosecutor has died. It's been a couple of decades. He's already gone. The judge has retired. If the judge or the prosecutor is still in office, it will be far more difficult to gain a hearing, to look at new DNA evidence. Prosecutors and judges, the worst thing that can happen to them is for them to be overturned, and they will fight it tooth and nail. The last part of the capital penalty is that right now we dearly love lethal injection. Oh, the person is so peaceful when they pass away. The only purpose of lethal injection is to protect our delicate sensibilities. We don't want to see blood. We don't want to realize that a person is dying. Let's watch them fall asleep. That way, I will not be bothered by the fact that this was a live person who's now a dead person and no new evidence can come to help him and nothing will ever work for the redemption based on new evidence. If we want to have the death penalty, then we need the guillotine to do it. The guillotine is totally humane, as much humane as anything can be. 2, it is totally foolproof. Whoever is operating that guillotine, it is very difficult to make a mistake when you pull a switch and a diagonal blade comes down with a 25-pound weight on top of it down a vertical run and lops a person's head off. And we get the realization, based on the blood that gushes out, that we have actually killed a person. That is an important part of a capital penalty, of the death penalty. It must be shown clearly that the person has met his demise at our hand and not just sweetly fallen off to sleep.